Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games where strategy meets laughter and climbing a ladder includes breakfast. In this episode, it's time for another publisher deep dive as we take a closer look at StoneMaier Games. We make stairs, tubes, and plates in this week's game of the show, Baconnn. And you, the Gleeples, get to play along as the hosts get put in the hot seat with this week's game challenge. Do you see that? I scout some competition in the ladder climbing game. Oh. You smell that? That's the smell of bacon.
Is there anything that smells better than bacon frying?
Brussels sprouts, absolutely. They're fantastic. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to say.
I think you're wrong.
I was like trying to look at JK's eyes to tell if he was kidding or not.
Hey, fellow breakfast hosts.
Hello, hello.
Hi, James. It's Emily.
Hey, Dwayne's here.
And this week I'm JK.
And I'm still James. Guys, I have a haiku for you today.
I love
We haven't had a
haikus.
haiku in a while.
It's been a little while.
Haiku.
If I could offer some feedback, haikus are my second favorite form of riddle. Limericks would be amazing.
The challenge is on.
We've been asking for limericks for weeks now, James.
That's so much harder. But I'll do it. I'll figure something out. The passing of time, growing older and sweeter, a generation.
I have a guess.
Yes.
Is it viticulture?
It is viticulture.
That was my guess, too.
Absolutely.
Aged wine, anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
JK had some insight.
Very on theme. Good job, James.
I kind of
Recently
forgot how we
played.
agreed to buzz in for that, and then I saw JK raise his hand. I was like, oh, no, no.
I think it changes every week, to be fair.
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Guys, I have a new TV obsession.
Oh,
Have you seen Yellow Jackets?
I have seen marketing for it.
I have watched my wife watch that show.
Oh my
That's a whole nother level.
Yes. This show is so good. I binged season 1 in one day
Okay.
and then have moved on to season 2 as well.
Okay.
It has a neat storytelling element. Now, the crux of the story, I'm not going to give you any spoilers by saying this, is it takes place primarily in the 90s
Okay.
with a
That's your
high
jam.
school girls soccer team that is heading to their national championship match. They're from New Jersey. They have to fly to Seattle. Somewhere over the Canadian wilderness, their plane crashes. And they spend 19 months in the wilderness.
Oh, wow.
I saw a preview for this, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. It gets dark. Now, the other
I was like, that sounds right up my alley.
The other cornerstone of this show is that while a good chunk of it takes place in the 90s and you see these teenage girls, a lot of it takes place in present day.
Yeah.
And you see their 40-plus-year-old versions kind of dealing with the fallout of what has happened in the woods. I said versions. Yes.
Is Melanie Linsky one of the adults or the actress that I confuse with Melanie Linsky all the time?
Melanie Linsky, Christina Ricci, Juliette Lewis are all in this, and it's great. There is so much creepy, spooky darkness that happens in the wilderness. Okay. They kind of tee it up in the opening credits from episode 1 of what you're getting into.
Okay.
But I think what really kind of seals the deal for me, the music. It is all like alternative rock from the 90s. It is so good.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It's a show that I am aware of, and I'm like, I think I would like to watch that, but it just falls off the list because
where's it streaming?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Not a sponsor.
Oh,
yes.
It's a mountain of entertainment.
It's a mountain of entertainment. I don't know who actually does the show initially. It's not Apple. It might be HBO Max, maybe. I
feel like it's an Amazon show.
I don't think it's an Amazon show.
No?
Hey, you can find it on a streaming service.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Emily's like, let's not debate this for too long.
It is a great show. The first episode kind of intrigued me because I knew where it was going a little bit after the first episode. The opening 5 minutes of episode 2, I was like, Oh, I'm in. I am all in on the show. It's great.
Is that Joel McHale?
He's apparently making a guest appearance in the latest season.
Oh, okay. I binged Abbott Elementary over the span of like 2.5 days.
Oh, it's a cute show.
It's a very delightful show. Once I got over like being triggered by my own teacher memories, it was a delightful show.
Did you watch the Always Sunny episode yet?
No,
Yeah,
I forgot they did a crossover.
So the fun thing is they did an Abbott Elementary crossover with the Sunny characters.
Because they're both set in Philadelphia.
And it's a very like Abbott Elementary episode. They are also going to do an Always Sunny episode with the Abbott Elementary characters, which will lean heavier into the Always Sunny side of things. So I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be really fun.
Are either of those in West Philadelphia?
No, Sunny is actually supposed to be downtown Philly.
Okay, so there will not be a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Correct.
Born and raised.
Also because he's in California now.
Yeah.
He might have to go back to visit his teachers at Abbott Elementary.
Maybe he needs to give someone a slapping.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought up the Yellow Jackets because I am now in a TV void because Severance Season 2 has ended and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life because while Severance is going on, like I watch an episode, I get on Reddit, I look at fan theories, I read the books that Apple is putting out, and now I don't even think we have a premiere date for Season 3 yet. So I don't know what to do.
You watched The Pit.
No, but I keep hearing about that.
I
I'm gonna put it on the
loved it.
list.
Dwayne,
Okay.
I cannot tell you enough how much I think you would enjoy Yellow Jackets. I might
Okay.
even forego playing a game after this and just sit you down and watch a show.
Watch episode. Is there a board game tie-in we can do? That would be amazing.
It's my favorite way to play games at Dwayne's house.
All right. Well, we went through our TV likes for now. What else do we do on the show?
Hey, we talk about board games
Oh, yeah,
No
that's
way.
right. Wow.
and board game manufacturers. And today, guys, we're going to talk about StoneMaier Games.
Oh,
Okay, I am
nice.
interested because
Hey.
I am mostly sure I've played a StoneMaier game. I don't think I own any of them, though. So, I'm interested to hear what interested to hear about this company.
I look at your collection on a regular basis, and now that I think about it, I don't think that you do. So, StoneMaier Games, this company was founded in 2012. They're based out of St. Louis, Missouri,
Oh, they're
so not
babies.
far from us.
I was about to say, that sounds
we can go visit.
really recent.
Just show up randomly and say, hey,
Yeah, hi, we're here.
hey, we're here. Is that cool?
The founders, Alan Stone and Jamie Stegmaier.
Yeah,
so
nice, cute.
there's how we get the name, a little portmanteau of that. They did a crowdfunding, what would you call it?
Campaign?
Yeah. For their first game. Anybody know what their first game was?
Was it Viticulture?
It was Viticulture,
Okay.
yeah. They earned about $65,000 from their supporters, which if I do the math right on that, I put that at about 1,500 copies of the game were probably purchased. And at that time, the early ownership of the company was equally divided between Stone, Stegmaier, and two additional partners. They later restructured and got those two partners out of the way, and then they were the two sole owners. As of 2023, they remain a relatively small company. There's only 7 full-time team members and 1 part-time.
Wow.
That's more than I even thought.
Yeah. So let's talk about their games. You know, in 2013, they did have that campaign for Viticulture. The original version of Viticulture was also followed by 2 expansions. One was called Tuscany. One was called Arboriculture. I don't know that I've ever seen that
never
anywhere.
seen that.
Yeah. They added different elements to the game. They included some kind of random elements that you could use to start the game. It was also brought to criticism, brought to their attention that Viticulture in its base form relied on a lot of luck. There wasn't a lot of strategy, or there was strategy, but luck really drove the game. Between those 2 expansions, in 2015, they re-released Viticulture as Viticulture the Essential Edition. And they incorporated a lot of the elements from Tuscany and from Arboriculture into the base game. That's the current version that's on the market. And as of 2024, it has sold roughly 250,000 copies.
Wow.
Now, Jamie's the designer of that, right?
Jamie is the designer of that one, I believe. Yes. He does more of the design elements. I think Alan's more of like the business side of things.
Yeah, so that's a pretty unique thing about this company is that Jamie's also the designer of a lot of their games. It's not always the case for a lot of publishers.
Yeah. They do have some, we'll kind of, as we get into their history, you're going to see where there is some outside influences brought into the company, but I think he's primarily responsible for a lot of their early work. Also in 2013, they released their second game called Euphoria: Building a Better Dystopia. I've not played this.
I've not even heard of that one.
But I see it pop up on a lot of lists for unheralded games.
Okay.
Things that should have gotten more recognition than they did.
I owned it temporarily and never played it, so I can't comment on any thoughts
Sad.
about it. It was just one of those things that came into the collection and then passed through, and never got a chance. It's got a really neat component inside, like a 1950s like ray gun kind of looking first player token marker icon thing. So it was neat looking. I heard good things about it.
You had to weather machine that game?
I did.
They go a couple years before their next release, but then in 2015 they come out with a game called Between Two Cities. And this was a minor success, kind of a neat mechanic in that you are doing city building directly in front of you, but you're concerned about what your neighbors are doing as well. Because the scoring mechanic is you are sharing points between neighbors on either side of you, and your best score is actually the worst score between the two neighbors.
Interesting. Okay, so you need to build evenly.
Yeah. Kind of a neat little mechanic.
Yeah.
Huh.
2016, after their success with viticulture, they hit their next big one with Scythe. Scythe is set in an alternative history version of 1920s Europe. You produce resources. You're doing area control. You are using these diesel punk combat mechs. They did crowdfunding for this one, and while viticulture earned them $65,000, Scythe earned them $1.8 million.
Wow.
Selling more than 500,000 copies since its release. It has had multiple expansions, including Invaders from Afar, Rise from Fenris, and the Wind Gamut. I own this game, and I have sadly, I think, only played it twice. It's one of my pain points that I really want to be better at this game, learn it, be able to teach it. I've just never really managed to cross that point.
That's what I've only played Expeditions, and like Scythe is one of those, like, people have told me it's like I need to play it. Like, it's the person who owned Expeditions just like didn't enjoy it as much, ended up selling it pretty quickly. But I had no idea that was StoneMaier.
Yeah.
For reasons I will talk about probably soon.
So that is one that I did own for a while. I got a retail copy for a great price, I think, thanks to James,
You're
actually. And before I opened it, JK, I played it with you, and it just did not click for me.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's one of those things where it might have just been overhyped to me, and when I finally sat down and played, I'm like, I don't see the fuss.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I did not get it.
I own it from the same retail copy when I bought yours, and it's still in shrink. Still haven't played it. Not for any lack of interest, just hasn't ever gotten to the table. So.
I think when I played it that time, I was like, oh, I should really like this. And I think I do. There's a lot of elements to there that I think fall right into my wheelhouse of gaming. It's hard to learn. And it's hard for me. I mean, you guys know I like to sit down with a game at my own table and play multiple players with it. The combat mechanism there, because you're hiding a dial and choosing secretly what you want that to be, can't really do that solo. So it's one I've got to learn with other players, and I'm scared to try and figure it out on my own. I need to. It's a good game. 2017, their next couple releases are My Little Scythe, which was like the kids' version of that game. It's cute. And they came out with one called Charterstone. Have you guys ever owned Charterstone?
Yeah, I played all the way through it.
Did you go all the way through it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I've owned it twice and sold it twice. And never gotten around to playing it. It seems like it's a great idea. James, kind of walk us through what Charterstone consists of.
Yeah, so Charterstone is a and actually just I'll go back for a second. My Little Scythe, it was actually a fan made thing that they turned into a real
nice.
small expansion.
Oh wow, they 50 Shades of Grayed that.
Charterstone though is a legacy game. And it's probably one of the earlier legacy games when they were just starting to become popular. Pandemic had come out. Maybe another one, but there weren't a lot at this time. And even right now, today, they're still on a ton of legacy games. If you think about it, if you were to list them out, probably under 20. But this is an earlier one, and it is a worker placement legacy game. And so the way it works is as you're playing the game, we won't go into all the... It's been a long time, so I can't remember the rules. But essentially, you are unlocking new worker placement spots that are all stickers that you're putting out onto this board. And so you have a base board that starts off with like a small little village area somewhere with a few worker placement spots. And then as you play the game, it's all these sticker sheets where you're adding more and more worker placement spots that do different things and unlocking. I remember you're unlocking different types of workers. So you end up with all these different colored meeples, white, red, purple, green, and they all have different powers and different things like that. So no spoiler alert, but that's the gist of this particular legacy game. The theme is you're trying to help the king is eventually coming back to the village area, and you want to impress him. Or it's been a long time since I've played it, but
Do you remember enjoying it?
yeah, I actually did. It doesn't have a great reputation, but I thought it was fun actually.
It's pretty. It's got a cute little
Disney
kind of look
very
to it.
pretty.
Yeah.
That's actually on like our list of like legacy options. I finished Pandemic Legacy Season 1, and so like talking to some other friends, be like, okay, are we ready to get in another legacy? And if so, which one? What are our options? And that one came up. So
yeah, actually, we did really enjoy it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's as great as Clank Legacy or anything like that, but it was fun worker placement legacy, building out new spots and unlocking fun worker types. It's worth it.
2018, Dwayne, if there is a game in StoneMaier's catalog that I think you should probably look into, it's this one. They went back to the well for Between Two Cities, kind of took that same mechanic, and collaborated with Bezier Games and released Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
That's the reason I'm familiar with Between Two Cities.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with it? Have you played it before?
I've played either Between Two Cities or Between Two Castles, and I can't remember which one.
Okay. I'm curious how it plays.
Yeah,
I never played it.
I'd be down to try that. Of course, I've got a few other Mad
Castles?
King Ludwig games that I need to try too. So
2019, StoneMaier releases 2 games. The first one, Tapestry. Tapestry is a civilization building game that I feel like on its initial release didn't really hit, and it's got nice components. It's pretty. It has all the things that you expect out of a StoneMaier game. But it just really was not a resounding success for them.
When it initially came out, but I think it's been a slow burn.
Yeah.
Because people, they still talk about it, and StoneMaier released an update pack for a lot of the part of the way the game, it's like you said, Civilization-esque game, so you choose a faction that's asymmetric, and some of them were, found out to kind of be unbalanced, and so they released a balance pack for it. And I still hear it kind of popping up here and there on different, outlets that I listen to. So I think it's still around.
Yeah. Their other release from 2019, a little card game called Wingspan, designed by Elizabeth Hargrave.
Can you describe that to me?
I
haven't heard of it before.
This is a card-driven engine building game. It's fairly light, easy entry point, but has a lot of depth to it because every single bird card in the game is unique and has unique powers. Emily, you look like you're about to say something.
So this is the game that I think of when I think of StoneMaier.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's what, when I was thinking of Scythe, I was like, obviously publishers can like publish a variety of games, but it was one of those I was like, oh, like those are in the same box. Wingspan, I feel like hit mainstream a little bit.
Oh, a lot of it.
Okay, yeah. Because that's what, like, one of, like, the podcast I listened to, they, because it's, like, kind of like a more woman-centric, like, podcast, they covered Wingspan because of the designer, whose name I'm forgetting.
Elizabeth Hargrave.
Yes, thank you. And so it was just, like, fun seeing, like, those two worlds, like, come together for me.
This was their biggest seller by far. It has made them a $20 million a year company. Wow. They have sold currently, as of 2024, they've sold 1.9 million copies of just the base game alone.
People love birds.
Not including your expansions for the European birds, the oceanic birds, the Asian birds, which incorporated a 2-player version, as well as a huge nesting box, which kind of allowed you to deluxify your collection. This was a Spiel winner back in 2019 as well. Definitely the high point of their gaming catalog. Yeah. Is this a Mount Rushmore game?
I think so.
I think so at this point.
Wait, there are only 4 spots, and we're going to give one of them to Wingspan? Really?
I'll retract that. I mean, Mount.
I'll say with my full chest.
Because I think we could all 4 come with our list, and I don't know that any of them would be exactly the same, and I'm even curious if any of them would be matches.
All right, on a future episode, no, I'm kidding.
Matt Westmore board games.
Next time on Gleeful Meeple
Yeah.
podcast.
So there are people in our group that are not a fan of Wingspan, and I get it.
Sure.
It's not a super in-depth game. It's not heavily crunchy, but I think it's a good game that you can teach to non-gamers because the concept itself is pretty simple. And once you know the game and you can look for certain birds or kind of what engines you're trying to build, there's a lot of depth to it. I think this is definitely in my top 20.
Okay.
Because that's what I remember. I tried teaching Wingspan when I was still kind of like relatively new to like teaching new people games and like especially games that like I barely knew how to teach. And so I was like, I definitely had a great trial run with this one. But it's like, yeah, like I feel like it can be a little bit like intimidating for some people because there are kind of like a lot of components. And like, yeah, like it's a card game, but it feels unique. Like I think of Meadow, like we've talked about, where it's like, yeah, there's like a lot of components that kind of feel familiar, but they're brought together in a unique way. But the artwork, the birds, the little eggs, the beautiful dice, like I feel like that just keeps people coming back to like want to learn it.
Well, definitely the production elevated this game and the exposure this game got for sure. I think it is still a heavy game for non-gamers.
Yeah.
I mean, it introduces the idea of action selection, hand management,
Engine building?
Engine
It's got a little
building.
engine building in it.
Yeah, which those are all foreign concepts to people who don't play games, who grew up playing, the classics. So,
but it still presents as a very accessible game, like
Yeah, I played
despite
it
all
with
of
my
those
family.
components. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
But it's, my wife calls it birds. She plays it on Board Game Arena. If I could give you a play count, it would probably blow your mind. But she's one of those people that says, okay, this bird is out on this game. That means I can do this strategy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that depth is there of like, okay, this bird's out, I can do this. This bird's not there. I don't know why that person's doing that. And, I don't have a chance to even do this, so I might as well do this. And,
It's
when you play it that much, you get to know the bird powers.
just like your wife saw that I was online one day and she was like, play birds with me.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't.
I have played it exactly once because I had an opportunity to play it at a con. Someone was teaching it, had a blinged out version of it, and it was fine. I haven't really had the opportunity to play it again. I think I might. I'd actually really love to play with Emily to get somebody's perspective on it who knows the game as well as she does.
Yeah, and she's great to play with because one of the issues, not that this is an episode about Wingspan, but it can go long sometimes, and she's all about speed, and she's a fast player, so you probably would have a good time playing with her.
Okay, great.
With that success, I mean, StoneMaier definitely hit the pinnacle of their gaming success. So how do you follow that up? In 2020, you come out with Pendulum.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
Not heard of that
I have
one.
never heard of this game.
Interesting.
This
That
feels
one
like
came and went.
Well, they can't all be Wingspans.
this feels like the amazing movie comes out with a sequel that just like flops.
Yeah.
It's like not calling this a sequel, but it's just the game after Wingspan.
Do you know what that phenomena is called?
Oh, I feel like you're about to tell me.
The sophomore slump.
Oh, that's right. I did know that.
When I was doing my research for this, I actually had to go look and see if this legitimately was a StoneMaier game because I'd never heard of it and had no idea what this
I
game
remember
was.
when it came out, and the immediate thing that turned me off from it is it's not a looker. It is a pretty ugly game, first and foremost. And then on top of that, it's real time. It's a game that has timers in it, like actual like sand timers.
Okay.
And you're flipping them over during the game to do stuff. So it has a real time element.
Oh.
So that turned a lot of people off, but it just also the artwork, the cover, it just didn't look good.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised. I was like, this doesn't feel like a StoneMaier game. And it seems like a lot of other people felt the same way.
Yeah, yeah. In 2021, they start to work their way back up into successes. They release Red Rising.
Yeah.
Which is a cute little card game. I say cute. It's colorful. It's bright. It's based on the Red Rising books. It is essentially StoneMaier's version of Fantasy Realms.
Okay.
Which Jamie admits that he was inspired by Fantasy Realms and wanted to make another version of it.
Which, if you haven't played Fantasy Realms, it's basically kind of card collecting so that you can have the synergy to get the most amount of points based off of what combination of cards you have.
Yeah, and that's literally just a hand of cards. At the end of the game, I have these cards. How do they all work together?
Mm-hmm.
No components, no pieces.
Yeah,
just some cards.
And so that's what we played it very recently, and it's with a bunch of people that had not played it either at all or very much. Were all trying to figure out what the best synergy is. It's like asymmetric powers. Like everyone has like their own.
A Red Rising you're talking about.
Yeah. But it was a fun game. I really liked it.
In 2021, they also jumped on the roll and write movement and came out with a game called Rolling Realms. I'm not too familiar with this, but when I went and looked this one up, my gosh, how many expansions there are for this game. There's a lot of content for this.
So I started playing this. He started doing Rolling Realms in the middle of the pandemic. And he was releasing it as a free printable roll and write. Just as a PDF online.
And it's what I read about is it's supposed to scale to unlimited players, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like bingo.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it was neat because we were I was when I was back then I was working in a business that was what was it called? Essential or
you're a
what was the word?
Essential workers. I think I was right.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Essential business or something. So we were open, but we were dead. And so I was at my desk printing these out and playing them. And it was just a black and white sheet of paper, nothing fancy at all. And then he decided to turn it into an actual releasable product. And the whole idea is it's the realms of. It started off as his games. So every single little module in your plane is representative of Scythe, of Wingspan, of this, of that. And they all work a little bit differently.
Really cute.
And now he's connected with other companies.
Yeah.
So all the little things you're seeing, JK, are all the realms of other games.
So you might see like an Eldritch Horror version of it.
Okay.
What a great way
So
to
you'll
connect.
pick 4 or 5 to play with in one session.
Yeah.
Of the countless he's made now.
Well, this sounds like a lot of fun.
I've wanted to track it down and get a box and play because it's super fast. It's really easy. Yeah.
Okay.
2022, another one that I'm really not that familiar with. They released a game called Smitten. Doesn't register for me.
I don't know that one.
And they also acquire the rights from Marabunta and Asmodee to do Libertalia, and they recrafted as Libertalia: The Winds of Galecrest.
Okay.
I did not think I was going to like this remake because I liked the original. It had really dynamic art, almost photorealistic player cards of really neat, detailed pirates. And StoneMaier turned it into funny animals, almost cartoonish, but it worked. The quality of the components is really nice. The storage is really neat. I've played it a handful of times and really like what they did with this game.
Okay.
Yeah, I never played the original, but I finally just recently played Winds of Gilcrest thanks to a friend of the show, Mitch, taught it to me, and I've really enjoyed it. I always thought for some reason it was a heavier, not a heavy game, but heavier than I thought it was, and it's not really. It's actually it's pretty light medium, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. 2023, Emily, you already mentioned Scythe Expeditions, which is not an expansion to Scythe. It's actually an individual game, but it's set in that universe.
There's your sequel.
Yes.
Yeah. And another one we got from them in 2023, really weird game, but I like this one, Apiary.
Space
you
bees?
are dealing with space bees. Yeah.
Bees
that have colonized outer space, and you're kind of helping them develop their areas of the galaxy.
I forgot I knew what that was until you said space bees. I'm like, oh yeah, I have heard of this one.
What is it about StoneMaier Games where like birds, space bees?
Well, let's continue down that path. 2024, they released 2 games. One is called Stamp Swap, which has gotten some minor accolades, but they also release Wormspan, which is not a straight up copy of Wingspan, but it does share some elements. But this is dragons instead of birds,
Not earthworms.
not earthworms.
WYRM.
Worms.
And then bringing us up to date in 2025, they released their next game, which is Finspan, which is pretty much a straight copy of Wingspan. I believe it is with some additional elements, maybe some expansion-y type stuff, but it is more focused on fish than it is birds.
Because it was that trilogy made me think of our like West Kingdom, South Tigris, like because it's one of those. It's like I loved all the expansions they did for Wingspan because it's like I thought they were all unique and just like fleshed it out. Whatever expanded the IP. But then it was like when they came out with Wormspan, I was like, okay, guys. And then they came out with Finspan, I was like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know if that's me just being bitter about like a company trying to do something
right
good again.
And I don't want to say that Finspan is a straight 1-to-1 copy of Wingspan with birds. I don't think it is. I think there's elements that change. But Wormspan is a considerably different game than Wingspan.
Okay.
For sure. Finspan is supposed to be a simpler game even than Wingspan. and it switches it up. Instead of it going left to right, you're going top to bottom and going into the depths
Deeper
of
waters.
the seas.
Oh, that's
so
fun.
it's a tall board, not a wide board, and it is supposed to be more approachable in terms of difficulty and complexity. So I think that was the goal of that one.
And then a couple things looking into the near future. So in 2024, StoneMaier acquired the rights to all of the Tokaido brand of board games. So Tokaido, Namiji, and Tokaido Duo. No release dates on that yet. We don't know what they're planning for that. That's one that, man, the original games, I thought the artwork kind of sold it. So I kind of hope they don't change too much of the look of those games.
Not. I mean, when they have the wingspan, they know artwork matters and sells games, so they should have the wherewithal to not mess that up.
Yeah. We're also expecting one more game from them in 2025, and it is called Vantage. And the way they're describing this is an open world cooperative adventure game. You begin each game of Vantage on an intergalactic vessel heading toward an uncharted planet. After crashing far from your companions, you have complete freedom as to how you explore, discover, and interact with the planet. You view your location from a first-person perspective. You can communicate with and support other players, but you are separated by vast distances, so you can only see your current location. The game is said to be completely self-contained and is not a campaign game.
Interesting. Okay.
He says he's been working on this for 8 years.
Wow.
I think. And do you have a component list of the number of components?
No.
Oh,
no.
Y'all keep talking. I'm going to track it down.
It's 415 large cards, 912 standard cards, 8 storybooks, 1 book of vantages, 1 game board, 20 challenge dice, 12 skill dice. I'm only halfway through the list. 60 boost tokens, 60 skill tokens, 45 cardboard coins, 6 time trackers, 6 morale trackers, 6 health trackers, 6 location card holders.
There's those cards, like over 1,000 cards.
That's
Yeah.
a
Over
lot of
1,000 cards.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by you view your planet from the first-person perspective, how that's going to come into gaming.
That is, I can't picture that right now.
It reminds me of like D&D, of like no metagaming, but it's like also I'm like trying to look up pictures of it now and I can't really tell.
They've released a box cover-ish looking.
Yeah.
It's looking through a telescope kind of lens, image. So there's that first-person thing, and then it's just of a world that it sounds like you can just explore. But yeah, he's super excited about it. And this, if it hits in the right way, because we've had some other games that are similar to the open world thing lately, like Seventh Continent, and the follow up to that, Seventh Citadel. And some other ones where Ether Fields, I think, is that way, where you just kind of like you reveal tiles as you go.
Is Sleeping Gods kind of in the same thing too?
Ish, yeah. In the sense of not revealing a world, but you can go wherever you want.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, think Sleeping Gods for going wherever you want, and then Ether Fields and Seven Citadels for like just flipping over tiles as you move forward. Shoot, even Clank Catacombs in that same idea of like you're exploring. But so there's been other games that have attempted to do this and have succeeded in the system that they built. But this sounds like he's really opening it up to like trying to really be like a Sky. What's the
Skyrim, Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, that kind of a feel and board game form. Which, man, if you can pull that off,
that could be very interesting.
That'd be cool. That'd be another hit.
That's kind of the roster of StoneMaier Games. What do you guys think of the company? Dwayne, I know you're not familiar with a lot of their games that don't own them, but any thoughts?
There are some things in there I'd like to play. One thing that I thought that was interesting about the company that we didn't get into, and I wonder if it showed up in your research. Were you familiar about the lawsuit they had against Farms Race?
No.
So this was a Kickstarter campaign where they had included a booster pack of cards that were parodies of other games. You could kind of use them in the other games, but they were silly and was going to send it off kilter. One of the games they included was Wingspan. So you had some Wingspan type cards in there, and StoneMaier came after them because they used the actual icons that were copyrighted, trademarked.
Yeah.
But I was really hoping, I think eventually the other company backed off, but I was interested because parody is something that's pretty well protected, and I wondered if the other company had had the money to fight it, what would have happened.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm a big fan. Obviously, I've done a deep dive into Wingspan. I've got the nesting box. I've got all the deluxe components. That's one of my favorite games. Also own Scythe, also own Viticulture, and Libertalia. and Apiary. Gosh, I have a lot of StoneMaier games. I think I'm a fan.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So after our TGD event, I believe I will have gotten Wormspan and Finspan.
I'd actually try both. As mediocre as I was on Wingspan, I would actually like to try both of those just to see if there's anything in there that's
me too.
Interesting to me.
There was an article that I read in preparation for this where an interviewer in St. Louis asked Jamie if he was concerned about the company's health because since the year that they came out with Wingspan, their earnings have gone down. Well, when they say their earnings have gone down, it's gone down from like 24 million a year to like 19 million a year.
Right.
And Jamie's response was, no, we're not concerned at all. We're going to continue to come out with good product, good games, and the market is going to continually adjust. So it doesn't seem like, even though they have released some things that are Wingspan adjacent, they're not just going to cling to that and make that the one success and then nothing.
No, that's like a huge difference between like them and Days of Wonder, like we talked about last season, where it's like they just kept producing Ticket to Ride versions. And it's just like, it's just interesting to see how like from publisher to publisher, like how they approach the market, how they approach their like board game making. Like I love StoneMaier Games, love Wingspan, really enjoyed Red Rising, and like I was looking up some of the games as you were telling us, JK, and like I would love to play Charterstone. I'd love to play like
Rolling Realms is high on my list now.
Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah, I mean Jamie's a super smart businessman, and if you get a hit like Wingspan, I mean you don't ignore that and not do something else with it.
Yeah.
For them to not do a Wormspan or a Finspan or just the Span series, whatever that would have or could have looked like,
right?
You'd be a fool not to do that.
Have,
right?
have you played Apiary with me?
No.
We should play that. It's a good game. It's got a lot of buzz.
Because amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
All right, Gleeples, this game of the show is Baconnn. Baconnn is published by All Play. It's designed by Sean Ross, art by William Harris. It was released in 2024, plays 3 to 6 players, but it's at its most gleeful at 4 and 6 players. JK, walk us through Baconnn.
Don't call it a trick-taking game. It is a ladder climbing game. In Baconnn, each player is dealt out a portion of all of the cards in the game, as well as a couple Baconnn wild cards. And then in player order, you can lay out a set of cards that makes a certain power rank. The game does come with a menu that shows all of the different combinations and specials you can offer up. Your goal is to just exceed the one that was played by the previous player. As long as you can do that, you're going to get rid of those cards out of your hand and have the opportunity to start the next hand again. The game will play over the course of several rounds, earning points based on who cleared out their hands the fastest. It's quick, it's simple, fry it up in a pan and eat it. It's Baconnn.
Nice.
Now, we played this in kind of a variant of the game.
Because we have to be a winner. We have to have a winner.
Yeah. We had to have a winner. The game is intended to be played as a team game, either 4 to 4. With 4 players, you play 2 to 2, 6 players, 3 to 3. There is a variation where you can play it with 5 players single, but it's really intended as a team game. We didn't go that route because we wanted to have a clear, concise winner within our table. So maybe we didn't see the full element of the game, but what did you guys think?
You know, it took me by surprise.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect. You know, you have the bacon. Okay. I mean, sure. It's a card game, so you know it's just going to be themed for theme's sake. You know, you're not doing anything related to cooking or making breakfast or anything like that. It's got fun artwork though, so it comes through there.
Looks like an old 50s diner on the cards.
Yeah,
the artwork is very nice.
50s diner aesthetic on something, and I am in, whether it's a TV show, movie, board game, and that's what really captured my attention on this.
Yeah, once we started playing, the thing that also captured my attention was the difference from other ladder climbing and or trick taking games, because I mean they share some identity in that you're trying to do similar things, sets of cards or sets of suits, or and most of the time games that do that play off of poker hands, and stuff. When we started to get into the play of this game, this is different.
Building a hand that is a combo of consecutive numbers in groups of 3.
Yeah.
Something like that was really, really strange.
It has some interesting play mechanics with that.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room too. So at our Gleeful Meeple events for the last couple of years, we've had a very popular ladder climbing game called Scout that hits the table often. I don't know that necessarily all play intended for Bacon to be the Scout killer,
right?
But there's a very similar play mechanic in terms of what you're trying to do to win the game. Here,
you're trying to outplay the last hand on the table.
The ranking of the hands differs from game to game. So that was a curveball that threw me the first time I played it. Was you would think you could play out a run of 2 numbers only to find out, oh, that's not even allowed in this game.
I don't know if it was the menu or the way you kind of prefaced it when we like started to play it of like, don't go based off of your Scout knowledge. Like it just cracked me up because JK is like, all right, I got a quick game for us tonight. And then it's like deals out all the cards. And then Dwayne and I immediately go into like analysis paralysis of like, okay, hold on. I have to think about this very carefully. And I think part of it's like with Scout, it's like you cannot rearrange your cards. And so and it's like actually as I'm saying this right now, I'm like, oh yeah, that is the difference. Like Scout, you cannot rearrange the cards once they are in your hand. So it's a strategy of like, okay, I'm going to play them in this order, try to create that combination, whatever. And then with Bacon, you can reorder the cards. And it was like I found myself just like shuffling my cards.
But
like
there's so many different ways you can organize them based on the what you're looking for on the menu.
Because it's like, okay, color, and then ascending, and then I was like, all ascending. Okay, like this I think is going to be a big power move, so I'm just going to put that to the side and then arrange the rest of my cards. And it was one of those, it's like you just play until you leave cards, like you're not drawing anymore. So it's like, this is what I have to work with. And it's like I felt like the more control, which like made me like stress out even more. Whereas like with Scout, it's like we're just gonna play it how we play it and just go from there.
The fact that I stressed you out with an easy game is fantastic.
It was hilarious.
Well, then on top of that, when you're trying to plan out your hand, is on top of the cards you're dealt, you also have how many? Two Bacon cards.
2 Bacon cards,
which are wilds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have what you were dealt, then you have these wilds, which you have to take into consideration. It's like, man, this brings up even more options about how I'm trying to strategize and plan this out. So I guess you could say that could lead to analysis paralysis, but I feel like after a couple of plays and you start to internalize the different sets and not suits, but the sets and how you can lay things out, it was not as big of a problem as I expected it to be.
Sure.
And I'm actually just going to run through the sets real quick for the listeners to give you an idea of how this is kind of different from other games.
Yeah, because it is neat, the different sets they make and how they rank them.
Yeah, it won't take very long. So they have one set of things that you can play out called combos, and then the second set of things that you can play out are called specials. Specials always beat all the combos no matter what. So I'll go through the combos first. So from lowest to highest, you have single, 1 card, a pair, 2 cards of the same, a trip, 3 cards of the same, a run of 3, run of 4, run of 5, or run of 6. So just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then it gets interesting. You have a stair. So 2 pairs of consecutive rank. So, a pair of 1s and a pair of 2s, a pair of 4s, a pair of 5s, pairs of 7s, pairs of 8s, 2 pairs, but they have to run consecutively.
Yeah, you can't do a 6 and 8.
Right. Then you have a tube, which is 3 pairs of consecutive rank. So pair of 2s, pair of 1s, pair of 2s, pairs of 3s, but same idea. Then you have a plate. So 2 triples of consecutive rank. So 3 3s and then 3 4s, 3 7s, then 3 8s, but not 3 6s and then 3 9s. It's got to be consecutive. So those are all the combos from bottom to top. Then the specials, you have a quad, which is 4 cards of the same rank. So just 4 4s, 4 5s, 4 6s. A straight flush, which is 5 cards of consecutive rank and same suit. So not just 1 through 5, but 1 through 5 of the same suit. A quint, a QUINT, which is 5 cards of the same rank. So 5 5s, 5 7s, 5 9s. You then have a stretch flush, which is 6 cards of consecutive rank and same suit. And then the last one is a hex. So 6 cards of the same rank. So 6 9, 6 5s, whatever it is. But that's from bottom to top. And so it's not just as simple as like with Scout, okay, set speeds runs,
right?
And then, right, that's all you have to worry about. You're always thinking about all these different variants of things you're familiar with, but haven't ever had to think of in this way.
And I think that leads to a really interesting decision space in the game because you have to decide, should I beat this person by just a little bit but ruin a better hand that I could make later in the game? Like, how am I going to navigate these cards? And with the wild, when do I use my wild? I found it extremely fascinating.
There's a fun element with the wilds, too. So one of the limitations in the game is that no matter how good your hand gets, you can only ever play 6 cards. So the highest is 6 of the same. But let's say James puts down a run of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a bad example. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The wilds can complete a set, but they can also be any number. So I could use a wild as an 11, which no one else has in the game to win that hand. Kind of a game-breaking rule, but it's fun.
Yeah, it really, once we got playing and I was going through that process that you were talking about, Emily, of like trying to figure out, plan my whole hand out, and then you get, I kind of have it in mind, and then a curveball gets sent, so I got to use these cards in this way, which I wasn't planning on, and here's what I'm left with, because you're never, there is no way in this game like Scout where you can actually get new cards into your hand. Yeah, that's also a unique thing that's actually neat about Scout, is that you're adding cards to your hand to help you make what you need to happen. Here, there's none of that. So if you have to pivot and use cards you had planned to use one way and use them in this way instead, whatever you're left with, you got to figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, so, and if you've whittled down your hand and you're down to a 1 and a 3, you're not gonna win that hand.
Yeah. So we've been comparing it to Scout a lot so far. While we were playing the game, Dwayne mentioned that this was like a phase 10 killer.
Yes,
100%.
Because phase 10 is something that I am subjected to by some of my extended family from time to time, and I find that game to be an absolute slog and miserable.
It's so funny. I think Dwayne has, because it's like you made a similar comment with like Wyatt Earp last season, where it's like you take a classic card game and Dwayne is like, I hate this. And then someone comes along and is like, okay, but have you considered Bacon? Because it's like you still have those like the set collection, like with phase 10 and stuff like that, or like where you're playing sets or runs or whatever, but it just gamifies it a little bit more.
Just give me something to think about where it's not just draw a card and play a card.
Yeah.
I know it's a short game and it was easy. Were there any negatives for you guys on this?
No. Actually,
yeah. I mean, looking back on it, not really. I mean, each play was interesting, thought-provoking, different, right? Because I mean, I think it feels different because of the unique sets you're trying to go for, right? That the stair, the tube, the plate, like that kind of stuff, just really makes each play a little bit more interesting than it would have been if I can play this back to back 3 times. And I'll go different directions each time because of the cards that I have. And I think that's pretty interesting. So, yeah, I didn't have any negatives.
Yeah, like great lightweight game. The art is great. Like the theme is like really well put together. I love that the player aid is a menu.
Yeah.
The player aid is also just like really well like concise and effective at what it's trying to do. Like it has like rule reminders as well as like those combos and specials listed out. Really effective design.
When All Play came out with this was part of a pack of 4 distinctly different trick-taking games. And that just stuck right in my craw that it's not a trick-taking
No.
Yeah. They're like, here's 3 trick-taking games and a ladder climbing game.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing I like about it is the box is appropriately sized for the game.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
They didn't do like, a big box with a ton of empty space,
Oh,
wasted
my
space in there.
word.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it's not a heavy thought-provoking game, really. There is some good decision space, as I mentioned earlier. But for the type of game that it is, it's one of my favorites of the genre.
I will be interested to figure out if I ever play it team.
Let's try it as a
based.
team.
I would love to play this as teams because I do enjoy team card games a lot. I mean, my high school lunches were taken up by playing spades for the most part.
Yeah.
So
because that's what like the most gleeful was 4 and 6. Those are the 2.
Those are the ways to play.
That's what they were
team-based.
indicating to me. Yeah.
But it's like I enjoyed playing it like all competitively. 4v or everyone against everyone, whatever that's called.
We might like it even more.
I know.
We might like it even more as a team game.
Crazy.
Remind me, JK, how many rounds do you play, or is it number of players? Or is it two?
The final scoring is when somebody crosses a point threshold.
Yes.
So I think it was 10 points.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, who crossed that point threshold?
Well, James has been on a run of winning every game we play, so surely it was James, right?
Yeah. No, I decided to put an end to that,
Yes.
actually. I saw my opportunity and I took it. But I do have to admit, I think going into the final round, Emily and I were very close, and I was trying to figure out if there was a way I could secure second place so I could actually decide on the game for this episode. Unfortunately, that honor is bestowed to JK.
That's the way this season is going.
I was
running
so
the game of the
close.
show for the whole season. And guys, I decided that after giving you something light and airy and quick to play, we're going to do something a little meatier today. So
we had air fried meat.
Breaking?
Yeah,
and now
extra sized. Farm raised
the
bacon.
expansion.
We are going to dive into Garfield Games and
Let's
play
go.
Architects of the West Kingdom.
I haven't played that one.
This is something I want to play. But before we get into that, real quick, I think we need to officially give our. It seems like I know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
What's our official keep it, play, or trade it away?
I definitely want to see it as a team game to see how it plays out. But for me, hands down, it's a keep to play.
Yeah, I don't currently have it in my collection, but if I came across it, I might want to buy it. I have Scout, but I think there's room enough in the collection to have two games because they're so different.
It is different enough to
justify having
justify
both.
it.
Yeah, certainly keep it to play for me. It's great.
Keep it to play. I would love to show it to my family. I think they would enjoy it.
I'd keep it to play for the artwork alone. Honestly, if it wasn't even as good of a game, I'd probably keep it just because I love the aesthetic of it so much.
Gleeful Meeple says, go get you some bacon. It's good for you.
All right, listeners, if you have any thoughts about Architects of West Kingdom, Bacon, or any other games we've discussed on the show, shoot us an email for a chance to have your comments read on future episode. That email address is pod@gleefulmeeple.com.
So I think we've talked enough about games. We had StoneMaier Games, we had Baconnn Games, we had Garfield Games. That it's time to play a game on air. No, not a board game, a game about board games. This week, Dwayne has brought something for us to play.
All right, y'all. We're going to get into how the sausage was made on this one.
Not the bacon?
Not the bacon.
Oh.
Sorry.
Sad.
That's not a phrase. I think it's because sausage has a lot of, the only thing not in sausage is the oink, and whereas bacon is just, made really. Anyway, so I knew that I had the game.
You're bringing the meat is what I'm hearing.
I don't know where you were going with that.
I don't know where I was either. I think I went into a fugue state for a moment and just kept talking for some reason.
I've got meat sweats are coming.
Mention animals and pork.
No notes. Continue to.
Bacon's so delicious. So I had an idea for a pretty interesting game for this game challenge, and then I promptly forgot it was my turn. And so this morning, when everybody showed up to record, I was like, "Oh right, I've got to go come up with this really quick." So we're just going to do a twist on one of my favorite things. The synonyms game where I give you synonyms. Synonyms.
You give me a hot candy.
I give
synonyms. You mean James's favorite game?
And they are delicious. You know what the game? You know the game where I give you. No, now we got to get into this. You know when we do the game synonyms, and I give you words that are supposed to lead you to a game.
Yeah,
you're familiar with this concept.
Is this antonyms?
This is antonyms.
No.
Yeah. This is going to be much worse. So, also, I've done away with that. Like, let's go around the table nonsense. What I want you to do is just shout your name into the microphone for me when you know the answer, and we will do it that way. Let's start with, and I've got a mixture of games here. I got some classics, got some BGG Top 100s, got some things that are just sitting around on my shelf. And I'm saying all this while I write a place to take scores. So that's fun. All right, we are ready. Let's start with a pretty easy one, I hope. The first one is joint ownership.
Antonym. Oh my God.
JK.
Yes.
Monopoly.
It is Monopoly.
Wow.
Joint ownership, oddly enough, is also the name of a local THC shop in our area.
Nope. Out.
That is true. That is okay. And we're dropping that from the episode. Good. Okay, I'm gonna skip this last one because this next one because it's kind of a challenge round. Okay, the next one is discords.
JK.
I heard JK first.
Harmonies.
Harmonies is correct. Point for JK.
Name. I call my name out.
All right, get ready for this one. This one I think might be the easiest of all of them. Commencing boy.
Oh, Final Girl.
I'm
Emily.
going to give
James.
Emily. I'm going to give Emily the point, even though she broke the rules.
I am the Final Girl. What are you? No, I'm kidding.
All right, good job with commencing boy is actually final girl. All right, hands on buzzers that don't exist. Pleasing individual. Pleasing individual.
JK?
I heard JK.
Angry Mob?
It's not Angry Mob.
That's a good guess, though.
This is a game in the vein of you're going to roll dice on your turn, but then everyone is going to be able, or you have the potential to gain goods based on the other player's dice roll.
JK.
Yes.
Bad Company?
It is Bad Company. Good job, JK.
I was like, space base? That doesn't make sense.
I know, yeah.
All right. Our next one. Impropriety. Impropriety.
I don't even know if I fully know the definition of impropriety.
This is
JK.
Okay, JK.
Decorum?
It is decorum.
Oh my
Good job.
gosh.
Well done,
I
JK.
saw you
JK's
looking
game.
that up.
Yeah, I was wondering if you saw that over in
I
Mission
did
Control
see
when you
it.
came by. Emily, that one was made especially for you
I
because I know you are a big fan of
I
decorum.
do love decorum.
All right. This next one is incompetence body. Incompetence body. Now, this is a classic game. It is a 2-player game. One player will create a secret code behind a screen, and the other player,
JK.
yes,
Mastermind?
it is Mastermind. Good job, JK.
We've owned that before and never played it.
Jeez.
I had that one as a kid.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's kind of fun. And it's used a lot, like in puzzle video games
Yes.
too. That kind of mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this one is going to be another easy one. James, this is your chance. You
Hold
ready?
on, let me turn off JK's mic.
Okay, that
Not
would
his
be
mic, his
amazing.
headset. Or yeah, no, that would work too.
Red one loses.
Oh, Emily.
Yes,
Green team wins.
that is correct.
I didn't even know we were going.
Okay. Measurable.
That's it. That's all we get.
Measurable. This is a game by Fantasy Flight.
Oh,
JK.
Emily.
I heard from Emily first, but that is not her name. JK.
Uncharted?
It is not Uncharted. Emily, you were next.
I was going to say Unfathomable.
It is
Yes.
Unfathomable.
Unfathomable.
Great job, Emily.
Dwayne played that on the cruise.
I did. That was fun. Getting to play Unfathomable on a
On a
boat
ship?
was
Oh,
really
yeah.
neat. The only problem is they set the board up wrong, so the aft of the ship was not in. Yeah,
Sad.
I know. We thought about it midway through the game. Okay, this next one is. I'm gonna give a little spiel on this. This is not. You will not tip. This is a board game, but you don't think of it as a board game. It's more famous as another property. Twilight of the Living.
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
I'm going to give JK the point, even
Oh,
though
I
he
didn't
broke
say
the
JK.
rule.
It's
It
okay.
is Dawn of the Dead.
We all get one.
JK, were you aware there was a Dawn of the Dead board
I
game?
know.
It was published in '78. It is quite expensive, and I missed it. I missed a Facebook sale by a few minutes one
Oh,
time.
no.
At a great price. Very, very sad. Okay.
You look at me when you
All
laugh
right.
like that.
So
That's
remember-
great.
That's great.
Look,
Remember, this whole game is about opposites. So, the final clue is Chatham Islands.
What is Chatham?
Chatham Islands.
Oh.
James,
Yes.
Seventh Continent?
No.
That's what I was thinking too.
This is a board game that at one time was published by Rio Grande Games. It is a tile laying game. It is named for a city in France.
Emily.
Yes.
Carcassonne?
Carcassonne. Chatham Islands is directly opposite of Carcassonne.
That's funny. Good one. Good one. I was really hoping that you were going to put like the small somewhere in that game.
There were a lot of weird ways to go on this. I found some that just didn't work at all. So that was our last one, and that puts our final score at JK at 6. Emily at 4.
Oh,
and,
so close.
James is going to go with the goose egg on this.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I was here.
That was
I
tough.
showed up. I get points for showing up.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing, everybody.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Thanks, Dwayne.
All right, that's going to do it for our discussion today, guys. For starters, let's thank our sponsor for today, Bluth's Original Banana Stand. Since 1953, Newport Beach's favorite snack shack. Try the George Daddy, a frozen banana dipped in chocolate and served between 2 chocolate grams. Come see us at the Big Yellow Joint, Bluth's Original Banana Stand.
And remember, there's always money in the banana stand.
There you go. Thanks for listening, folks. Come see us at any Gleeful Meeple event on the calendar. You can also email us at pod@gleefulmeeple.com and find us on Instagram at gleefulmeeplepod. See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Gleeples.